So in this video we'll see part 3 of RIP, which is Routing Information Protocol, where we will be creating a network which consists of 2 routers, 2 switches and 2 PCs. So this is Shardul Gavande with you from Ace Knowledge, and let's start with the practical. So I'll open my Cisco packet tracer over here. So let's create a network as told earlier with 2 routers. So this time we'll take a generic router. Okay, so 2 generic routers, then switches, so 2 generic switches, okay, and PCs, so we'll take again 2 generic PCs. So let's connect this, let's create a network with the help of automatically choose connection type from router to switch, from switch to PC, again from router to router, from router to switch, and from switch to PC1. So let's make a note. Let's follow a traditional method of making a note before configuring. So here the IP address is 192.168.1.2, and our default gateway, which is in DG or nothing but our router's address, is 192.168.1.1. I think as of now you may have got an idea of what is a default gateway, what is a router's address, how to find the network address. If not, then do watch my previous videos, you'll get an understanding of it. Okay, so here the next is IP 192.168.2. Okay, 168.2.3, and the default gateway is 192.168.2.1. okay, so this was for my PCs. Now for my router network 10 point, let's say 0.0.2. for here over here we'll take as 10.0.0.3. okay, so let's start with the configuration. We'll enter into the PC0, into the desktop, and in IP config we'll write the IP address 192.168.1.2, and our default gateway we'll write it later. First we'll write with our PC1 now. For desktop IP config 192.168. it was 2.3. okay, and now for router. For router in C, we will first check which interface it is. So just hover your mouse onto this wire, and you can see it is FA0/0. So in FA0/0 under CLI mode, or you can go through config and fast Ethernet 0/0. over here our default gateway, which is 192.168.1.1. okay, and the subnet mask which comes automatically, and don't forget to enable the port status to on. Done. So let's write our in the PC0 our default gateway, which is 192.168.1.1. okay, so we don't need to configure switch, as switch configures itself automatically. It will take some time to configure itself. okay, so let's come to this router now, and we'll check the interface first. Which interface it is FA0/0. okay, so get into FA0. so this time we'll do through CLI mode. okay, then we'll get into, now we'll say as enable en, then config t, then int fa, which it was FA0/0. so we'll say FA0/0, enter, then IP. in order to add the IP address we'll say IP add, which is IP address, which is 192, which was the default gateway, 192.168.2.1, and the subnet mask, this is class C address. so subnet mask would be first 3 net ID as 255.255.255, and the last ID as a host ID, which is 0, and you can say as no shut in order to enable that port, and then exit. okay, so you can check it over here in the config. Again, get into FA0/0, and here you can see the IP address has been added. So that was through CLI mode, and this is through config. okay, here is the config, and here it was through CLI mode. Either of the ways you can do it. okay, so next we'll get into PC1 again, and into IP config we'll add the default gateway, which was 192.168.2.1. so we are done with configuration of this. Now we need to configure this 2 routers. So check for the interface. It is SE2/0 with a clock rate. okay, so we'll get into this SE2/0, We'll set the clock rate as 64,000. Generally it is 60. You can set any clock rate, but generally it is used as 64,000. So we'll take 64,000 and IP address which it has 10.0.0.2 and enable the port status to on. Same for this router. Check the interface. Which interface does it lie? SE2/0. But here we don't have a clock rate. Here you can see a clock is clock. You can see a clock over here. So here we have to set the clock rate. Here we don't have a clock over here. No symbol of clock. Only we have is SE2/0. So get into again config SE2/0 and just simply type your IP, which is 10.0.0.3. okay, and enable the port status to on. So we are done with the configuration of our network. So let's test it. So we'll take a packet from PC0 to router 0. We get successful. Okay, then from this PC to this router, okay, we get in progress and fail. Well, it will take some time. Let's check again. From this router to this PC, successful. Again from this PC to this router, successful. So it takes some time to configure. From this PC to this PC, fail, and from this PC to this router, fail. Why? Because we have not yet configured them. So we need to perform our IP, which is routing information protocol. So what happens in routing information protocol? Again, all the we must assign addresses to which the router is connected to, the network addresses to which the router is connected. So this router knows network address of this particular address and this particular address. So let's configure it. So we'll get into router 0. Then we have over here as RIP, get into RIP, add the network addresses. So this router is connected to this network, which has a network address as 192.168.1.0. So this is my network address. Always network addresses at the last we have 0. Okay, and then we'll say add. Again, this router knows is connected to this particular network, which is of TENS network. So it has IP, it has network address. So we'll say again add a new network address, which is 10.0.0.0, and we'll say add. And in the settings, don't forget to save your NVRAM, okay, so that the configuration has been saved and not lost when the packet has been traced. Similarly for this router, okay, so this router knows is connected to this particular network of 192 and again to the TENS network. So we'll give the address of this network. We'll get into, so this time we'll do through CLI mode. We'll get into CLI mode and we'll do RIP. So we'll exit from all of the commands. Okay, again enable, then config T, then we have is router RIP. Okay, so we'll get into config router. Then we have to add the network. So we'll say network and simply the network address, which is this network, a network address for this particular network. So we'll say 192.168.2.0, and again another network which we have to add is the network of TENS, this particular network. So we'll say 10.0.0.0, okay, and then exit. So now we'll check the packets from PC0 to router 1, successful. Okay, from PC0 to PC1, successful. So this is how you perform RIP. Through RIP we have configured a network, and now if you can see the packets have been traced out. Okay, now let's try from PC1 to PC0. So we'll say from PC1 to PC0, successful, very good. And from PC1 to router 0, successful. Okay, so this is how you configure your network with the help of using RIP, which is routing information protocol. So that's it from this video. Thank you so much, and please do subscribe.